Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. Our AI narration lets you delve into the wisdom of timeless books, extracting those golden nuggets of insight.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're diving deep into The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale.
Oh, fantastic.
This book, it's a classic, and I think it's more relevant now than ever.
I agree completely.
So Peale, he talks about this idea that you can wake up every day feeling unshakably confident, overflowing with energy, just genuinely happy. And, reading this,
Right.
it sounds almost too good to be true.
It does, but Peale, he really emphasizes that it's not some unattainable dream.
Right.
He lays out these techniques for cultivating a positive mindset, and he believes that it can genuinely lead to a more peaceful and fulfilling life.
I love that. And I think that's what we really want to unpack today.
Absolutely.
Like, how do we actually put these techniques into practice and unlock that potential within ourselves?
Yeah, and one of the things that Peale really emphasizes is the power of a peaceful mind. He describes it as this wellspring of strength, a source of energy that we can tap into to achieve incredible things.
It's like having this untapped reservoir of power just waiting to be unleashed.
Exactly.
But how do we actually access it?
Well, Peale, he gives us some very specific techniques. He talks about consciously emptying the mind of negative thoughts.
Okay.
It's like decluttering a room,
Right.
creating that space for peace and clarity.
I like that analogy.
And he suggests replacing those negative thoughts with positive imagery.
All right.
For example, he shares the story of a businessman who's completely consumed by anxiety. He's in a moment of panic, and he finds solace by turning to the Bible. The words, they're like a balm, soothing his worries, replacing them with this sense of calm.
You know what, that really resonates with me because
Yeah.
I've noticed that when I dwell on those negative thoughts, they just multiply. That they consume me. But even if I can just shift my focus to something positive, even for a few moments, it can change my entire outlook.
It's so true. And Peale, he provides a really practical visualization technique. To help with this, imagine a basin filled with dirty water, and as you pull the plug, you visualize your worries, your anxieties flowing out with that water,
Okay.
leaving behind this clean, empty space.
So it's really about clearing the mind to create space for that positivity.
Precisely. And this idea of clearing the mind, it's so crucial. And it reminds me of another story that Peale tells about this man who combats stress by simply looking up at a clear blue sky
Oh, wow.
and focusing on the sunshine instead of the mud.
I love that.
It's about consciously directing our attention to the positive.
So we're not just suppressing the negative, we're actively replacing it with something good.
Exactly. And Peale, he also argues that a peaceful mind isn't just about serenity.
Okay.
It's also the key to unlocking boundless energy.
Oh, that's interesting.
He suggests that this energy, it stems from a spiritual source.
So here's where things start to get really interesting.
Right.
Because he's connecting our mental and emotional states to a deeper spiritual dimension.
Right. And he believes that by connecting with a higher power, whether it's through prayer, meditation, belief, we can tap into this wellspring of vitality that fuels our actions and helps us accomplish more with less effort.
It's like plugging into a universal power source, drawing energy from something much greater than ourselves.
Precisely. And he uses this compelling example of a baseball pitcher who, despite losing pounds of sweat during a game, remains energized.
Oh.
And he attributes his stamina to this connection with a higher power.
So it makes you wonder about all the untapped potential we all have within us if we could only tap into that source of energy, more consistently imagine what we could achieve.
Absolutely. And that's what Peale is trying to show us. He also tackles this issue of defeatism.
Okay.
And he argues that dwelling on defeat actually attracts defeat.
That's an interesting concept.
It is. And he encourages readers to cultivate this I don't believe in defeat attitude.
Right.
It's about refusing to let setbacks define us.
It's so easy to get discouraged when we face obstacles. But it sounds like Peale is suggesting that our mindset plays a crucial role in how we respond to those challenges.
Absolutely. And he provides a very practical method for shifting our mindset. He suggests consciously replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations.
Oh.
Instead of saying, I can't, try saying I can.
Right.
Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, remind yourself, I am capable.
So it's about changing the script in our heads, rewriting those limiting beliefs that hold us back.
Exactly. And he shares this very inspiring story about Amos Parrish, who was a successful businessman who overcame a severe stutter.
Wow.
Imagine struggling to even say the name of your company, Cadillac.
That's tough.
Yet Parrish persevered. He refused to let his stutter define him, and it's a testament to the power of unwavering self-belief.
It's a powerful reminder that even what seem like insurmountable obstacles can be overcome with the right mindset.
Absolutely.
Speaking of obstacles, worry is something that we all struggle with.
Oh, for sure.
Does Peale offer any techniques for breaking free from that worry habit?
He does. He dedicates an entire chapter to dismantling worry. And remember that basin analogy.
Yes.
He suggests using that visualization to release anxieties, allowing them to dissipate instead of taking root.
Okay.
He also advocates for tackling worries strategically.
So what does that look like?
He compares it to strategically taking down a large tree. You wouldn't just attack the trunk.
Right. Yeah.
You'd start by cutting off smaller branches, gradually working your way up to the main source of the problem. And Peale suggests applying the same principle to worries. Start by snipping off smaller worries, then move on to the bigger ones.
It's about breaking down those overwhelming anxieties into manageable pieces.
Precisely.
So we've talked about finding peace, cultivating energy, overcoming defeat, and even tackling worry.
Right.
But what about achieving our goals and dreams? Where does positive thinking fit into that?
Well, Peale firmly believed that what the mind truly expects, it tends to receive. In other words, our expectations shape our reality.
So if we expect success, we're more likely to achieve it.
That's the idea.
Right.
And he emphasizes the importance of shifting our expectations from negative to positive, creating an atmosphere that attracts success rather than failure.
So it's not just about wishful thinking, but about cultivating a genuine belief in our ability to achieve our goals.
Exactly. And he illustrates this principle with a fascinating story about a baseball team that was stuck in a losing streak. Their coach, realizing the power of expectations, convinced them that they could achieve hits and victories.
Wow.
And this shift in mindset led to a dramatic turnaround in their performance.
It's like they tapped into this hidden reserve of talent simply by believing in themselves.
Right. And he also tells the story of a struggling vacuum cleaner saleswoman who transformed her sales by approaching each house with this unwavering expectation of making a sale.
Interesting.
And her belief in her ability to succeed led to this dramatic increase in her sales.
These stories are so compelling because they demonstrate the tangible impact of our thoughts on our outcomes. It's like our minds are magnets attracting what we focus on.
Precisely. And Peale, he also addresses the issue of facing difficult problems, situations that feel beyond our control.
Right, because those are inevitable.
And he advocates for incorporating faith into the problem-solving process.
So it's not just about positive thinking, but also about believing in something bigger than ourselves.
Right. He suggests forming this partnership with a higher power to navigate life's challenges.
It's about surrendering control and trusting that we're not alone in facing our problems.
Exactly. And he shares this really powerful story of a businessman who's on the verge of bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
And he finds solace and guidance by literally putting his business in God's hands. And this act of surrender allows him to find clarity and direction amidst all the chaos.
That's powerful.
It is, and it's a powerful reminder that sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to let go of the need to control everything.
Right, trusting that there's a greater wisdom at work.
Exactly.
That's a great insight. And you know what? We're going to take a break right here, and we'll come back in part 2 to explore more of Peale's powerful techniques for transforming your mindset and achieving a more fulfilling life.
I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back to our deep dive into Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking.
You know, one of the things that really struck me in the first part was Peale's emphasis on the power of prayer. He doesn't simply view it as a religious ritual,
Right.
but as this dynamic tool for connecting with a higher source of strength and guidance.
Yeah, and Peale, he delves into various prayer techniques,
Okay.
like visualizing the person you're praying for, or even using prayer to access the subconscious mind by praying as you fall asleep.
Oh, wow.
What's key is the intention behind the prayer.
So it's about aligning our thoughts and desires with a higher purpose,
Exactly.
seeking guidance and support in navigating life's challenges.
And Peale, he emphasizes the importance of using positive affirmations in prayer,
Okay.
focusing on what you want to achieve rather than dwelling on what you fear. And he shares this really compelling story about a salesman who is struggling with insecurity and low sales.
Okay.
And this salesman is given a simple 3-sentence prayer to repeat before each sales call.
Wow.
And the results are remarkable. His sales skyrocket.
Really?
Showcasing the potential of combining faith with positive affirmations.
So it's almost as if he reprograms his mind for success through prayer.
Right.
Instead of letting fear and doubt dominate his thoughts, he's replacing them with belief and expectation.
Precisely. And Peale, he also emphasizes the practical application of faith,
Right.
showing how it can be a tool for solving everyday problems. He encourages readers to view their problems as opportunities for growth and approach them with confidence and determination.
He talks about establishing a partnership with God.
Yes.
It's not about passively waiting for a miracle, but actively working towards solutions while trusting in a higher power for support.
It's a collaborative effort.
Right.
You bring your best effort and faith while trusting in divine guidance and support. And Peale uses this analogy of a businessman seeking clarity and direction by metaphorically placing his business in God's hands.
This concept of surrender is so powerful. It's about acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and trusting that something greater is at work even when we can't see it.
Right, and Peale reminds us that we have this inner strength that we can tap into, especially when we feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
He encourages readers to practice emptying their minds of fear, hate, and worry, creating space for peace and clarity.
So he's going back to that basin analogy.
Yes, visualizing those negative thoughts, draining away, leaving space for something more positive to take hold.
And it's not enough to just get rid of the negative.
Right.
We need to actively replace it with something positive.
Exactly. And he also talks about eliminating little negatives from our vocabulary and replacing them with positive affirmations.
Okay, give me an example.
Instead of saying, I can't do this, try saying, I can do this with God's help.
So it's about retraining our minds to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. It reminds me of Henry Ford's famous quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
That's a great one. And Peale, he truly believes that with faith, we can achieve anything.
Really?
And he tells the story of a man who dreams of building a new type of plastic factory. Despite facing skepticism and doubt from everyone around him.
Okay.
But instead of giving in, he clings to the biblical verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, using it as his source of strength and motivation.
So he actually succeeds in building the factory.
He does. And this story, it illustrates the power of unwavering faith and perseverance in achieving our goals. And Peale also emphasizes the importance of expecting the best, believing that our expectations have a direct impact on our outcomes.
Yeah, it's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly.
Our beliefs have a way of shaping our reality.
And Peale, he shares another captivating story this time about a baseball team that's plagued by consistent losses. And their coach, recognizing the power of expectations, convinces them to expect hits and victories.
Interesting.
And this shift in mindset leads to this remarkable turnaround, demonstrating the power of positive expectations.
So this concept has applications beyond the baseball field.
Absolutely.
You know, if we approach any task with a sense of defeat, we're already setting ourselves up for failure.
Right.
But if we cultivate a belief in our ability to succeed, we're more likely to tap into the resources and strategies needed to achieve our goals.
Exactly. And this principle, it extends to our relationships with others as well.
Okay.
Peale, he believes that positive thinking can transform how we interact with people. He encourages readers to focus on the good in others, express appreciation, and cultivate genuine warmth and friendliness.
So it's about shifting our focus outward, seeking to uplift others rather than dwell on our own insecurities.
Right, and this reminds me of the story about the man who overcomes his social awkwardness by intentionally practicing acts of kindness and focusing on the positive qualities in those around him.
Yeah, it highlights the transformative power of choosing to see the best in people and acting accordingly.
It's about creating that positive ripple effect in the lives of those around us.
So positive thinking isn't just about personal gain.
Right.
It's about fostering a more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
In Peale, he also emphasizes the importance of finding beauty and inspiration in the world around us, even in the midst of challenges.
Okay.
He shares a story about a man who combats stress by simply looking up at the clear blue sky and focusing on the sunshine instead of the mud.
Right, choosing to focus on the good.
And this simple act of shifting his focus allows him to tap into a sense of peace and gratitude.
It's a reminder that we have the power to choose where we direct our attention. If we're constantly focused on the negative, that's what we'll see. But if we make a conscious effort to seek out the beauty and goodness that surrounds us, we can shift our entire perspective.
And Peale also stresses the importance of a holistic approach to well-being. Acknowledging the interconnectedness of our minds, bodies, and spirits.
Right.
He advocates for relaxation exercise and adequate rest, recognizing that our physical health has a direct impact on our mental and emotional states. He even suggests incorporating leisure activities that bring us joy and rejuvenation, reminding us that life isn't just about work and responsibilities,
Right.
but also about finding moments of pleasure and fulfillment.
So it's about taking care of ourselves on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Exactly.
When we neglect one area, it inevitably affects the others. This holistic approach to well-being seems to be a recurring theme in Peale's work.
Absolutely. He recognizes that we are complex beings.
Right.
And that true well-being requires attention to all facets of our nature.
As we continue this deep dive into the power of positive thinking, one theme that really stands out to me is this idea of personal responsibility.
Yeah, Peale doesn't advocate for just passive hope.
Right.
He challenges us to take action to make a conscious effort to cultivate that positivity.
So it's not about wishful thinking. It's about actively shaping our thoughts and aligning them with our goals.
Exactly.
He reminds us that we're not just passengers on this journey called life.
Right.
We're the drivers.
Yeah.
We have the power to choose our direction.
And he doesn't stop there. He also highlights the importance of purpose.
Okay.
He suggests that connecting to a higher purpose, whether through faith or service to others or pursuing our passions, can give us that direction and motivation.
So it's about finding that driving force that's something bigger than ourselves, that fuels our actions and gives meaning to our efforts.
And he argues that when we align our actions with a greater good, we tap into this source of strength and fulfillment that goes beyond our individual desires.
Peale also encourages us to embrace our individuality, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
In a world that often pressures us to conform, he reminds us of the power and beauty of being authentically ourselves.
He champions celebrating those unique talents and resisting the pressure to fit into a mold. He believes that true happiness comes from expressing our individuality without fear or apology.
I think that's such an important message, especially in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be and how we should live. Peale encourages us to look inward and find the strength and beauty in our own unique selves.
He shares a story about a man who overcomes a difficult childhood and this deep sense of inferiority.
Wow.
By discovering his unique talents and using them to positively impact the world. And this journey of self-discovery helps him find peace and fulfillment.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have something special to offer the world. And Peale also talks about the importance of gratitude, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
In the midst of our striving and achieving, it's easy to lose sight of the blessings we already have.
It is, and he encourages readers to focus on the good, appreciate the simple things, and express gratitude for the blessings they receive.
Okay.
He even suggests keeping a gratitude journal. Regularly writing down the things we're thankful for.
So it's a way to actively cultivate that sense of gratitude.
Exactly. And this practice, it shifts our focus from lack to abundance, fostering contentment and joy.
It's like training our minds to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the power of positive thinking, what are some key takeaways our listeners can apply to their own lives?
Well, I think Peale's message is ultimately one of empowerment.
Okay.
He's telling us that we have the power to shape our reality by choosing our thoughts, embracing faith, cultivating positivity, expecting the best, and taking action.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about living a positive life.
Exactly. And he urges us to find our purpose, embrace our individuality, practice gratitude, and never give up on our dreams.
Those are powerful words to live by. This deep dive into the power of positive thinking has been so insightful and inspiring. Peale's wisdom, it continues to offer valuable guidance for unlocking our potential and creating a more positive and fulfilling